Okay, so what do we want to tell you about? Well, we've got to tell you more about these spiritual superpowers like telepathy and telekinesis and teleporting yourself. And I don't know why, because you need to know about these things. Because. So, who can we give you an example of people who have these spiritual superpowers that you can relate to? For Star Trek fans, I'm going to give you a zillion different extraterrestrials. All throughout all the different series, there are people who have certain kind of spiritual superpowers. It just quite often it kind of seems kind of phony baloney because sometimes the people that have got this spiritual superpowers um, don't seem like they should have them because they don't seem very conscious. And we're told that it's a fairly high consciousness field where these spiritual superpowers appear, which is kind of like a carrot to get you to raise your consciousness so that you can experience some of these spiritual superpowers. So why are they stupid powers? Well, because the people that have them don't want you to have them, so they call them stupid. Or they say it's a spiritual trap to get city powers, SIDDHI, that's the traditional name for them, because they have them, and they're afraid that if you get them, that you're gonna, have a spiritual war with them, because these people who do have spiritual superpowers are absolutely 100% evil, like the evil Emperor of Star Wars. But what are you gonna do about it? Well, I'm hoping you're gonna join me and the forces of light in toppling all these evil fucking shit things. Because that's what I am. I'm organized light. And I'm mostly organized with myself. Because the other light workers I don't seem to be directly in contact with because of my. I don't know why. So, what is my spiritual superpower? Um. I don't have one. Doesn't seem fair, should I? I don't know. You don't know me. You don't know, what would make me think that I would get serious. Seriously, I don't want to tell you, but it's not up to you as a human to decide whether you're going to get spiritual superpowers because it's, consciousness. Aren't you consciousness? No, you're not. I mean, am I consciousness? No. What am I? I don't know. What's consciousness? I don't know. It's not conscience. Let your conscience be your guide. Consciousness. What is consciousness? Well, when you're conscious, when you wake up in the morning, you get out of bed, you're conscious. And if you fall asleep, they might call it semi conscious. Or if somebody hits you in the head hard enough, you might go unconscious. Well, you all understand this. We have to move on to the next topic. So, why do evil people have spiritual superpowers if, in the documented stuff that we read, it's only advanced spiritual people that get these superpowers? They're gifted. They're gifted to these people. You can gift a spiritual superpower to someone else? Apparently it's so. Why do they want to do that? Because they got them. If they give them to other people, then they can develop an enormous psychic army. Is it true? I don't know. Because all the textbooks are written by people that I don't know, and I don't want to trust them with anything they say because they're other people, and quite often other people are. I don't know, I can't go that far. I'm sorry. I'm just going to tell you that what we've been told is that their spiritual superpowers are not under personal control. So, what happens when it seems like people are getting, like, manifestations of whatever the hell they want? The answer seems to be, I don't know. Beeson seems to think that maybe it's part of an education process. Try them out until you come to the conclusion that you don't want them anymore, perhaps. Well, there's certain episodes with the Q on Star Trek where they kind of get to the point where it's like, when I can snap my fingers and manifest anything, it's pretty boring because there's no challenge to life and there's no fun. Because it's, the story of King Midas who could touch things and turn to gold is exactly the story that you'll remember. And that's why, they always have so many problems when there's too many superpowers. Do you need some superpowers? Do other people have them? If other people have spiritual superpowers and are using them to hurt others or to improve their own position in life at the expense of others, then either you're going to have to get those spiritual superpowers taken away from these people, or you're going to have to gain the spiritual superpowers yourself so that you can have, a defense against these kind of things. Anyways, why do I talk about this? Well, because most people don't know that there actually are spiritual superpowers because all this information gets heavily suppressed and you are brainwashed into believing that you are indeed a muggle. Those are, horrible 3D people. I call them 3D people. And you see that guy, Harry Potter's uncle, in one of the early movies. That is a 3D person, an ass-kissing fat old bastard who abandoned a boy because he was scared. The uncle did. So, yeah, you need the spiritual superpowers because there seems to be people who have been gifted these things from God knows who, but they have them. So you need to get them so you can defend yourself and you can defend your family. You can defend your children because these evil, evil things are always out to hurt people. And they like to hurt children. They are epitome of evil. And that comes straight from the devil, Beeson. I don't know what else to tell you because there are people. Elizabeth April just gave us a talk on her YouTube about how to get spiritual superpowers. And I didn't listen to it because I don't do anything. Because my spiritual way is the way of inner silence. And it has nothing to do with gaining lots and lots and lots more different knowledges about how to get this, that, and the next thing. Because there's all kinds of people that are just monkey minds and they just want to get all the information. Who was that? That was me. Before. Part of my process was information gathering. So for years and 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 years I read and 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 read. So I took, a hell of a long time. And, there's some people that are bookworms and some people avoid books. Does that mean you're at a disadvantage? Yes, it is. If you refuse to continuous lifelong learning, then you're going to be a dummy for life, aren't you? Sorry. It's just the human condition. If you're mentally lazy, then, you're just not going to get all these things. You have to work for them just like everything else. And how do you work at increasing your consciousness? Stop drinking booze. Stop eating meat. Those are two things that'll raise your vibe up really, really high. Because most people I know are alcoholics and meat eaters. So you get rid of those two things, and their vibe is going to go way up. Two things. And all those people are going to say, the fuck, I'm going to give up beer and steak on Friday night. So, you're going to waste this whole lifetime. Because you don't get a human lifetime automatically, you know. You have this incarnation as a human being, and you get as many years as you get. And if you're wise, you're going to learn as much as you can, because certain things you can carry with you, apparently, to your next lives. But if you spend all your time as an alcoholic eating meat and you don't advance your consciousness, then, consciousness itself is going to look at you and say, you're just not ripe for being human. Because you become human and you're just, a lazy fuckface, a head case. So consciousness is then going to give you multiple lifetimes as other kinds of things. Because other kinds of things need people to go and be other kinds of things. Because we need these other things as other kinds of things. So you might get a miserable lifetime. Because you were an alcoholic in this one, you did nothing to advance your consciousness as a human. So we're just going to give you other lifetimes. Or why make you human? We're just going to be a pain in the ass to other people. An alcoholic that, eats meat. So your next lifetime might be, well, I don't know. In the olden days, in the Pisces age, remember, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius, that song came out in 1969. That's a long time ago. So we're well into the age of Aquarius, and a lot of people are still Piscean. That was the previous astrological age. They're very Piscean in the way they look at things. It's a holdover. These people are throwbacks to the last age, which was completely different. So in the age of Aquarius, these ideas that we were given, that, because that's where we were, that, after a lifetime of human, if, maybe you have a lifetime as a raccoon or a bird or something, but that's the old Earth. I just seem like I'm having deja vu, because it seems like I just keep giving all the same information over and over again. And I look at the number of people that see it, and it seems like I'm heavily shadow banned, so I end up talking to myself and just watching all those stupid monkey-minded people never get the good information that they need. And if you get them good information, you got to compete with Sunday football. Because this spiritual information is never going to be used if it competes with, hey, Sunday's my football game, and I start, I go out for breakfast and have a good brunch. And by 11 o'clock, I usually then get ready, and, I've been there. And brunch continues, and then brunch becomes afternoon, and next thing you know, it's after supper, and that's my Sunday. So that's one day a week I can't have. And then there's Monday Night Football, and maybe, a few other things that I just got to do, and my calendar is totally full. So there's no way that I have time to absorb this information that you say I need. Because there's no time, because my plate is full. So what happens is that, by the time, you're an old man in the old folks' home, and you're doing life review yourself in your own head and looking back on this, and you're going to say to yourself, all those football games that I watched didn't bring me in $1. All those football games that I watched at the bar cost me a lot of money in food and beverages. Decade after decade after decade, that's what I spent my leisure time. I mean, I don't know. Like, if you're 60 years old, you've been watching football since the time you were probably 10. So you got 50 years of watching other people play football in fancy uniforms, and you just spent all the money. And what did you learn in those days? Well, you learned, probably how to coach football, but you're not going to coach football. So this skill about coaching football is useless to you. It didn't bring you any money, so it's useless. It's a waste of money. So, ergo, you shouldn't spend time watching football. You should take all of that time and work on developing your consciousness. Well, if you get your consciousness up higher and higher and higher, it's quite likely that your next lifetimes are going to be in, higher consciousness. And, less and less likely that you're going to have more and more lifetimes as, things like centipedes. No one told you that you could have a lifetime as a centipede after this? Well, you have to ask me, because I'm the smart person, because I did all the research. And most people don't even think that I'm smart. They don't. Why? Because they know I'm smart, and it's easier for them to pretend I'm insane than it is for them to change. It's the truth. It's the insanity of it all. So, you want spiritual superpowers or not? You want to be like Superman? Gonna take work. I mean, you go and look at Wim Hof. Everybody knows Wim Hof these days, and I keep using him, the Iceman. You go watch some videos of him. I mean, clearly the guy spent years and years and years developing this talent. And that's just one area. You know, there's other people that can develop. There was, I don't know, some people just want to keep learning to see what exactly you can do. And last week I gave a lot of people that know me the audiobook version that I found on YouTube of Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Who do you know? I don't know, you don't know the story, so you should listen to it. But it's about a seagull who wasn't like all the seagulls. Most seagulls are incredibly lazy. As you know, they go to the dump and they feed on other people's garbage. Jonathan Livingston Seagull in the story, I don't want to go too far because you need to listen to it. But he wasn't like the other seagulls. He looked at them and said, "You stupid seagulls eating that." He said, well, the other seagulls are like they're following a fisherman's boat, and the fisherman is, cleaning the fish, and he's throwing the fish heads into the ocean. And the seagulls are coming around eating these fish heads. And Jonathan looks at them and says, "That's gross." And he looks at them as after they eat, they just, they don't do very much. They kind of hang around the fishing boat and they shit a lot and they make a lot of noise. But he looked at them and said, that's not the life for me. And then he went off to become an independent seagull. And what was he? He was the Wim Hof of seagulls. And that's as far as I'm going to go. Jonathan Livingston Seagull. It's on YouTube for free. And if you look for the Richard Harris version, I think it's Richard Harris. It's a beautiful, beautiful couple of hours of enjoyment. So treat yourself to that, because I need to inspire you into feeling like you really, really need to have spiritual superpowers. Because you really need telepathy, because you just get sick of these long-winded talks that I give you. No one watches them. I'm almost 20 minutes in, and, I look at the stats and no one watches. 0 people watch my video. 0. One person comes in and sees I got a new video, and within 30 seconds, because I look at the stats, and that's what it says. One person comes in and watches for about 30 seconds and then cuts out. Why? I have no idea, but that's what the stats say. Are they lying to me? Well, everybody knows Facebook and Instagram lie to you about statistics, so I have no idea how many people actually watch it. And I think I've heard people say that even Facebook, they took away, as for some people, the thumbs down button. Not for everybody, because I've still got it, but some people report it's gone. Because they don't want people, maybe it's just on certain stories. It was something about a Joe Biden story, and so many people gave thumb down on a video of Joe Biden running his mouth, being a fuckface, that Facebook didn't want that people to see that there's so much negative thought about Joe Biden, so they just took away people's ability to give thumbs down to Joe Biden. You need spiritual superpowers because Facebook is out to fuck you. So if you really want to know somebody who was reported to have these great spiritual superpowers, then you can read the books of Ingo Swann, because he was a noted, I don't know, they're great books. I read a lot of them. I like the books. Is it true? I never met Ingo Swann, and they say he's dead. But they're good stories, and you want inspiration. Read some Ingo Swann books. Spend a bit of money and buy some books. Because if you want spiritual superpowers, you're going to have to go investigate people who reportedly have them. And Ingo Swann's an excellent writer, and if anything he says is true, then you might pick up some tips on. I want you to get very excited about getting something like it's promised in the movies. And how do you go about it? Well, you go find Elizabeth April on YouTube, because she just made a video on how you get spiritual superpowers, so you can be like Superman or whatever. The only way you're going to get them is I got to interest you in them, because most of you people need a good boot in the ass, because you're pretty much stuck on Sunday football, and I want to get you out of that head space where you think automatically that watching other people play football for decades and decades and decades is a good use of your limited human experience. Isn't, 50 years of watching football on Sunday enough? It's not you playing football. It's you watching other people play football. It's a brainless activity. It truly is brainless. You are not advancing your consciousness at all. You are dumbing yourself down into a couch potato, and you all know it. Plus, you get drunk. So you're becoming fat and stupid because everybody says you're killing brain cells. I don't know if it's true, but seriously, after 50 years of getting drunk every Sunday, do you think you might have some brain damage, Bill? I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. It's not fair. Because I drank and drank and drank and drank and drank and drank and drank. Booze, 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 booze. Beer, 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 beer. Wine, 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 wine. I don't know. I just had decades and decades and decades. And I didn't spend it all in front of the TV set watching football or anything. I was just not that big of a on TV sports guy. I'm not. But all the same, I love to go to bars and I love to have dinner parties and, all kinds of things. And, over the years, I spent a lot of money on booze. I had a lot of good times, but, after 50 years of, well, I don't know how many years it is. I don't know, 35 years. 35 years of being, a drunk every weekend. For a long time I felt like, I was drinking too much. A long time. And then I found out, my lifestyle is just very conducive to me drinking a lot. As it was for many, many years, just like everybody else. I'm serious. Like, just because I'm admitting that I'm an alcoholic doesn't mean that all the rest of you people aren't alcoholics. Well, you're just going to give you a definition. I mean, if you're, whatever the definition is, if you're drinking more than 7 drinks in one sitting, then you're binge drinking. And if you're drinking more than 7 drinks in a week, they're going to call you, a problem drinker. Everybody I know drinks more than that. Everybody I know drinks more than, one person's idea about what's the definition of an alcoholic. So, hi, I'm an alcoholic. Did I do 12 steps or nothing? No. What happened? I've lost the taste for alcohol. I don't like it at all anymore. I don't like it. But maybe it was just because, I remember when I was about 16 years old and somebody somehow got a big bottle of vodka and we were drinking like those big paper cups, like 16-ounce cups. And they were like half full of vodka. So it was like 8 ounces of vodka when you're 16 years old. And I don't get to tell you how annihilated you get. It's beyond belief. You pass out. You're just like, you don't know, you're obliterated. So, that was my introduction to drinking. And it's like, downing that pure vodka when you're 16 years old, that's hard, It's like, oh, it burns. It tastes horrible. And then your other friends are like, yeah, that's booze. Yeah, drink up. And it's like, okay. But then you learn and, you get past this horrible taste. But anyways, for me, it wasn't like I didn't have to go through 12 steps or Alcoholics Anonymous. I just lost the taste for alcohol. So much so that, I just can't drink it. Even like, one sip of beer I had last summer on a nice hot day, I bought beer. Good thing I didn't buy too many because seriously, I opened one bottle and I had one sip and it tasted good. And after I had a second sip, I didn't enjoy the second sip. So, I'm good for one sip of beer these days. And I used to drink just gallons of beer and every other kind of thing. So why did I lose my taste for it? Well, the typical reasons, I've always puked when I drank too much booze. And, I had a few puke-a-thons again, and it was like, I don't like this horrible, horrible puking. And in some cases, like, I didn't think I'd drink that much. In the old days, I drank like triple what I did that, and I didn't puke. But, my body just, whatever it is just like, punish me because you punished the body and you drank too much booze, and now you're going to have a horrible puke-a-thon and you're going to be like have a horrible hangover for a few days. Well, that's what it is. And at some point your whole body, because once you get to a certain age, your whole body just doesn't bounce back, and it's just says, the fuck, I'm going to drink any more beer. You had one sip, that's all you get. And then it says, I ain't drinking no more. It says that to me. It's like, I don't like that. And then I'm tasting it. It's like, I don't like this neither. I don't want to drink it. And so I put the bottle cap back on the bottle and I put it back in the fridge. And I found out, it was like there a week later, and I had no intention of drinking that beer. And that's the way it is. So, some people are just going to say, well, I don't want to tell you. It's your dealie. Anyways, if you want to raise your consciousness, stop drinking booze. Why stop eating meat? Do I really have to go into all the PETA arguments about it? It's just simply, I've told you over and over again, and eating meat is wrong. Just like, people 150 years ago were working on the idea that human slavery was wrong. According to, the history books, which might be phony baloney, but, 1865, and the Civil War in the USA was all about many different issues. It wasn't just slavery, but blah, blah, blah. I'm not a history teacher. I'm just going to say you. In those days, many people still felt that keeping other humans as slaves was perfectly okay, and it was civilized. So, eventually, we still have people that still believe that slavery should be legalized, and we have enormous corporations that enslave us and pay us shitty wages and overwork us, and then we see the 1% they don't work at all, and they own everything. So, seriously, this particular system does not work out well for you and me. But if you get the spiritual superpowers, then maybe you're going to be able to manifest things that you can have without money. And that's the whole idea behind the fifth dimension, believe it or not. Because in the fifth dimension, the idea is through synchronicity and serendipity, you're going to have a wonderful life. And it won't be necessarily you saying, I need a new car so much. It's the opposite. Instead of you saying, I need this, I need this, and I need this, and I get my checklist of all the stuff that I need, and then I'm going to manifest all that stuff, you throw all that shit away. Because that's Abraham Hicks, and fuck you, Abraham Hicks. You've done more to screw up humans than anybody else on the planet, Abraham Hicks. Fuck you, devils. It's just devilry. It's telling your ego it can have whatever it wants over and over again. It draws people in because people want all this shit, but people don't need all this shit. So fuck you, Abraham Hicks. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And anyways, no one's going to see this video, but the truth of the truth of the truth is that they're fucked, those people. Because the real way to get to the fifth dimension is not listing all your wants and then insisting that the universe deliver them to you. You let go of all your wants and needs. Everything. Everything that you demand of the universe, you let it go and say, fuck it. I'm not going to make the universe give me that stuff. Why? Because the universe is smarter than me. I can't look forward in life and see what's coming, but the universe probably has a better chance of knowing what's coming up for me than I do. So I'm just going to let go of all my demands on the universe, and I'm going to quietly just say to the universe, it doesn't really work that way. Because you have to do much more work to let go of control. Because you have a very strong ego that wants to control everything. So taming your ego is not just one weekend seminar at, anything. It is a everyday thing. Just like anything else. You want to learn how to be a plumber, you got to do it every day with a master plumber. So you can, see how he does. And then you have so many experiences of different kinds of toilets and different kinds of plumbing problems and weird houses and stuff. And you got to get very creative. And, over the course of a long time apprenticeship, you become a master plumber. It's the same way. If you want the spiritual superpowers, don't expect people to give them to you. You have to let go of control. And Abraham Hicks don't say that. They say you get whatever you want. I'm sorry. It's a scam. And in the end, you get stuff that you wanted, but it was just your ego mind thought you needed this stuff. And in the end, it becomes like, you don't want this stuff because you really don't know what you want. Because we're very, unknowing. So what are the chances that you're going to get spiritual superpowers or whatever? Well, I don't have them. And I've been going at this for a long time. I don't know, I'll give you like 20 years. I don't have spiritual superpowers. What does it take to get them? I don't know. I didn't want to watch the rest of the Elizabeth April video on how to get spiritual superpowers because there's many people that are around me that would bedevil me, and I don't want to give them, information on how to get even more powers over me. So instead of that, I'm going to let go of the need for me to know what Elizabeth April said about how to get spiritual superpowers. But you can go look. I just have demonic activity around me, and I don't want the demons to know what she has to say. So they're too stupid to use their own Google. They always like me to do it, so I'm going to say, fuck you to these demonic shit things that won't leave me alone, like Brent Beast and the devil. But you can go, and you should go and read it, because I already know this stuff anyway. I don't need her. How does I know? It'll come when it comes. When you let go, it's like, you don't have any expectations. You don't. You just, you're in the moment all the time. Fifth dimensional living is you don't plan for the future. You're going to, what? No, you don't. It's like so easy. You throw away your date book. You throw away your driver's license. You throw away all your money. You let go of the need for all of this shit that just burdens and burdens and burdens. You're going to go, that's nuts. I know it's nuts because we live in a 3D matrix. This is the third dimension, and it's all that garbage shit that is just like, well, how do you get to the fifth dimensional living? Well, you got to take a big chance. You do. The big chance you're going to take is, you don't know. But until you take those first steps towards, doing whatever you think you're going to need to do, according to all the information that you've gathered from other people about developing powers like Superman, some kid is going to hear this. Some kid's going to be like 12 years old and hear my video and then go watch Elizabeth April, and by the time that kid is about 16, they are going to have spiritual superpowers that are going to blow you away. You're going to be like, he's 16 years old and he got all the superheroes. I'm 50 and I can't do it. I'm sorry. You're a human and that kid's human. That kid is a kid, and kids are like, wow, I can get superpowers, and the kids are going to do it because he watched. Wow, I can play video games. Kids are going to do it. So, you're going to be left behind by 16-year-olds, and they're going to use their spiritual superpowers, and they might use them to like torment you or something. I'm serious, because I'm tormented by things that I think are technological. I really do. I think that because you can simulate a lot of spiritual superpowers by using high technology, and that's what these stupid fucking people do. And you look up targeted individuals, and there's all kinds of stories about people like me who do claim that they're under demonic attack. But if I had spiritual superpowers, would these things be able to block the... Well, I don't know. Ingo Swann, in his books, people out to get him, and they can't get him. And in the end, in the stories anyways, those who have Superman-like powers are, pretty much, rare, but, there's lots of talk of them around the world, as I say. And, if you want these things, I really want you to get them, because, if you come under demonic attack, you need something in your toolkit.